Hi, my name is Nasser. I'm the CEO and founder of Gradsun. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up an account as a supervisor, post a project with a few questions, browse the matching table of Gradsun, communicate with students on Gradsun, and then accept students into your lab on Gradsun. If you instead want to see a video demonstrating all the questions instead of a few questions, I'm going to link one here and in the description below. Okay, let's start with number one, setting up an account as a supervisor. To do that, we need to get to the registration page, and I think the most common way to do that is through the headers registration link. It'll ask us if we're a student or a supervisor. In this case, we're setting up an account as a supervisor. And now it'll ask us for an email and password. An email is important because it helps us verify your identity, which is important if your institution or department has a subscription, but your email also allows us to email you with Gradsun related items. So let's go ahead and input an email. You're also required to enter a password. I'm going to enter, I'll make something up, and I like to aim for 3 bars. So let's see. Okay, 4 bars. So our password is secure. Let's go ahead and create the account. It says that a verification email has been sent to your email address for verification, and please verify it within the next 24 hours. So we'll go ahead and do that. We have finished setting up an account as a supervisor, and it also logs us in. And now we can move on to the next step, which is posting a project with a few questions. Initially, it takes you to the how-to page for the matching guide. I know what to do, so I'm just going to show you. First, we go to the My Projects page. Then we'll create a project. And now I can open that project to edit the information. So this first hint tells us to be okay with something vague like a department name. And this other hint tells us what matching and strictness is. In this video, I'm going to show you what it is and how it works. So let's go ahead and add a discipline. You can use the search or create text input box. I am going to add behavioral genetics because I know that there are demo students with that field. And then I'm going to add psychology using the hierarchy. And I know it's under the medicine category. And there we go. I'm going to put matching strictness as low to show you the effect of matching strictness in this video. So after you select the matching strictness, it automatically moves on to the next question, or you could have clicked the next button. This next question asks us to provide information that is worth mentioning. So some sort of general description. In here, we're given an example of a project. Students will be given an example talking about themselves. So let's make something up for a behavioral genetics psychology project. And once we are done, we can just click away and it'll automatically save, or we could have also just clicked next. This next question is about degree type. Let's say for me that I'm I don't think this project is large enough for a doctorate student or PhD student, so I am going to pick a master's to avoid the tension from a potential doctorate student. There was no matching strictness for that question because it provides a hard filter. Degree duration. In the previous question, I chose that I want a master's student. In Ontario, common duration for a research master's is 2 years. I'm going to select 2 years, and that will clarify to students that this is not a 1 year master's program or project for a 1 year master's program. Now I'm going to put the matching strictness as highest. The next question is about the funding state. How long is this project currently funded for? And this is more of a teaching question than a matching question. It's to teach students that not all projects are always fully funded. In fact, most of them are not fully funded. In this case, I'm going to say that this project is funded for 1 year, after which point I will have to reapply for a grant. The next question is about learning priorities. Priorities often correspond to how time is used, and so having a similar ranking of priorities between a student and a supervisor will tell them that they will agree about how time should be used. To edit this question, you have to left click and hold, and then you can drag it and then drop it where you want it. I'm going to set the matching strictness as medium. Languages. What are the preferred languages of communication? The student will need to communicate the project in presentation, then write about it. Because we're focusing on biomed and health in Ontario, the default answer is English, but if you do want to edit it, you can click on the Add or Delete Languages button and then search something in the text bar. You could add it, right? And you could also delete it. So I'm actually going to add French. I'll make it only French. And then I'll put the matching strictness as high. Okay, this next question is about countries. Which countries will this project be carried out in? The default answer, because we're focusing on biomed and health in Ontario, is Canada, but you can also edit it. In this case, I'm going to leave it as Canada. And I'll set the priority or the matching strictness to high, and that tells the algorithm that I care about this question more than I care about a medium strictness question. This next question is about equity and diversity. If you're a supervisor with a lot of students and you're looking to give an edge to students who come from historically disadvantaged groups, you can do so here. In this case, I'm going to select no / I prefer to not disclose. And that just means that for this project, I'm not giving a specific minority group an edge. I also don't want to discourage non-minorities from applying to this project. And I'll leave the matching strictness as none. This next question is about independence. And this question actually gives us, well, it's the start of the sampler for the many questions, preference-based matching questions that Gradsun offers. Why would having a similar preference for independence matter? Well, it's sort of a proxy for how much time the student needs from the supervisor, and so it's good to be on the same page about that to avoid any dissatisfaction. In this case, I'm going to select highly independent, and I'll change the matching strictness to highest. This next question is about creativity. How creative does this student need to be? Why does having a similar answer for creativity matter? Well, if the student wants to be creative and the project doesn't require creativity, then the student is going to feel frustrated, potentially lose morale, and therefore this would reduce research productivity. This next question asks us to give a title for the project, and this hint tells us it can be the formal title or just a short description. So I'm just going to make something up. And once you click away, it saves. And now let's move on to the next question. This next question asks us to specify which institution would the student graduate from after completing or upon completing this project. We have a few options that you can search for here. I'm going to select Western University because that's where I'm an alumni from. Okay, this next question asks us to provide our full name. I don't want to do that. Let's say I want to remain anonymous for this project. I can actually be explicit about that by setting the privacy to on. And now other users will know that I want this information to remain private. This last question now asks us to provide a website address. Because, again, I want to be anonymous, I'm going to leave this question out and go ahead, set it to private, and move on to the matching table. Okay, now we are officially on step number 3, browsing the matching table to find a student or some students. And you can see that I can see rankings for the students, and that's because I'm subscribed. I can use the ranking algorithms. And we can see that our top matches or top ranks don't have the same disciplines. And I believe that's because we chose a low matching strictness. So to check that, I'm going to go to the table settings and click show matching strictness. And now we can see, yes, I do have a low matching strictness for that. So it's not surprising that these are different. But let's see where I have a high matching strictness or highest matching strictness. Do we have similar answers? For the degree duration, I can't see because the student has set that one to be confidential, but it probably is a match because they are rank 1. Okay, so for independence, I said that that was the highest priority, and our first match is also, well, they want to be highly independent. I can't see for creativity, but it's probably the same. I only choose a high matching strictness for work-life balance. These aren't too far off, but they're still off. If you did want it to be different, you could probably change the matching strictness. And here at the end, we can also see if it's whether the student has uploaded a CV, we can open it. These are demo students, so it's just empty PDFs. And if they have a reference, which I've actually put myself. While the first ranked student had the same answer for questions like independence, they did not have a similar answer for disciplines. And we're not okay with that, so we're going to go back to my project and change the matching strictness on that. Okay, now we can see that the first ranked student has a similar discipline to what we chose, behavioral genetics, they don't have psychology, but probably nobody has those two disciplines selected. As you can see, they are not a great match on these other questions, but they're acceptable, and we chose to prioritize the discipline question in this case. So to recap, we saw the matching algorithm in action. We changed the discipline matching strictness from low to highest, and it changed the rankings for the students so that discipline is more valued. Now, if I wasn't subscribed, I wouldn't be able to use the ranking algorithms, but still, I would be able to do the search myself. So let's simulate that by selecting a matching algorithm or optimization mode of none. And now students are ranked in the order of most recently created, as you can see by their numbers. So we can use some of the filters that you can see in the table headers. And since we care so much about discipline, let's go ahead and use that. And now we can see that there's only one student with that discipline. Let's say you want to expand our criteria to consider students who are interested in other genetics disciplines. I can add them here. And now you have 3 results. I can narrow them down even more using other filters. So let's say we want to use this filter for independence. I'll select highly independent. And now we only get 1 result. To move the filter, you can just do that from here, the table settings. And now we have our 3 results again. So 3 results is a low enough number to work with. Now let's conclude our search there and add some of the students to our shortlist. We just add 1 student. This way, next time we come and look at this project, that student will already be there in the shortlist. Okay, so we learned how to use the matching table. Now we're ready to learn how to communicate with the students. We can message them from the shortlist or from the browsing table. At the top here, it shows us which project we're chatting to the student about. By default, it's the project they had selected during the search. And then here it shows us that there is no conversation between you and the student about this project. So we can send a simple message. And we can continue the conversation in the messenger. And here, or from the matching table side, we can use some of the templates. We can also go to the student's profile from here. And once you are on their profile, you can request that they join your lab. If instead they were the ones who made the request, you would see that you can accept the request, but you wouldn't have to go to their page to see that. You could go to your account, and you would see it here on their lab. Instead of you being the initiator, it would say that the initiator was the student. From here, you can also select multiple students and then perform some action on them. So to show you what I mean, I'm going to go back and select another student. Now there are multiple students. I can select them both and then send them a message. You can confirm that the messages have been sent. And that concludes our video. We showed you how to set up an account as a supervisor, post a project with a few questions, browse the matching table, communicate with students, and then accept students into your lab. Well, we actually showed you how to request that they join your lab. But it's very similar. If you still want to see a video where we go through all the Gradsun questions, I'm going to share a link here and in the description below. For now, I hope you found this video useful. Thank you for watching, and we would appreciate it if you like and subscribe.